Everyone, this is Maureen and welcome to My Crochet Story. Today is Sunday, January the 7th, and yes, I'm coming on a little bit later than what I wanted to, but you know what? Time just got away from me today. Whoa. And it's not that I had a lot of things to do, but time just got away from me. But anyway, so here we are. As I said, this is Sunday, January the 7th, and we're just here for a little bit of chit-chat. Although my chit-chatting today is a little bit different than anything I've ever done before. So I noticed that there's been a couple of videos out there of people that I follow talking about the trends for 2024, and I thought, I wonder what is going on. I keep up a little bit because I do love Pinterest, you know, the rabbit hole that you can get going down and not be able to find your way back up. So anyway, the last few days I've been doing a little research on my own, thinking, oh, I knew that was coming, or wow, I didn't think about that one. So I wanted to share with you some ideas that I found for 2024. You probably have already heard them, but I wanted to give you my perspective of where I see crochet going for 2024. Now, this is not a certainty, but it is kind of what, in the research that I've done the last 3-4 days of just gathering information. I've been out there on fashion websites. Of course, Pinterest. Pinterest is my go-to place whenever I want to see what's going on. And then, like I said, some fashion places, magazines, obviously, and then going and looking at the books that have been produced here in, let's say, at least the last 3 months, for sure. I always feel like that gives me a pretty good idea of what's not only going on right now, but at least be going on for a good 6-9 months. Now that's the way I look at things. Others may look at it differently. But before we get into all that, let me say thank you so much for stopping in this evening. Be sure you have a little bit of something to sip on. I've got some coffee in my cup. And just, listen to me ramble on and see what you think. Now, if this is your first time here, I'm going to say probably a really good video for you to jump in on. I'm going to give you my perspective of what I think is going to be moving and grooving for 2024 as far as knitting and crochet is concerned. And if you like this video, I hope you'll take a moment and just go look at some of the other stuff I have on my channel, and maybe you'll hit that subscribe button down there in the corner, and then look for that little bell that's got the hugs on the side, because it'll let you know every time I upload some content. So, where to start? I've got myself a little outline here, and I'm hoping that I did it in such a way where you can see where one idea flows into another. So let's get started. I think color trends is a good place to start, because everything that we make rotates around colors. Now, whether it's colors we like or it's something we're making for somebody else, it always comes down to colors, and then of course it comes down to the fiber content, the stitch, the item itself. But I kind of think, now, like I said, just out there looking at what's come down the runways, so to speak, I believe our color trends for this next year, we're going to be seeing going in a much cooler direction. And what I mean by cooler, I mean more subtle, not necessarily pastel colors, but a little bit lighter shade, especially our blues, our silvers and grays, maybe even the peachy color. I see those all coming into play in a lot of items that we're going to see in, as far as wearables, our bags, maybe even baskets, home decor, that kind of thing. So I think that for right now, especially with spring coming in, I'm just going to say that the blues especially are going to be the highlight of our color themes this year. Now, with all of that said, the reason why I picked blue and some silvers is that you find this a lot too if you start looking in the stores like Macy's and Walmart even. But I'm talking about your more high-end stores. They're already putting out the new linens, and if you go down, look down the where your towels, your sheets, all that kind of stuff is, you're going to see these lighter shades of blues and grays and a peach, or maybe just a very pale terracotta, you know, just in that family of things. And speaking of our towels and bed sheets and stuff, I kind of think that we're going to start seeing a lot of homey items being given more for like weddings and baby showers, bridal showers. Me personally, I see a trend of going back to the basics. And to me, basics means giving nice little bundles of dishcloths, tea towels, hot pads, trivets, you know, to put our hot pans on, coasters, anything like that to accentuate not only the home, but are also just very nice usable items. So I see that as a trend as far as gifting is concerned. Now you can also even ease on into like your bath and spa items, like the face scrubbies, the bath little hand towels, I said the face scrubbies, the washcloths, the tea towels. And I want to tell you something about the little face scrubbies. Now, it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but have you ever thought, I mean, most of the time, especially for me, I raise girls, so I automatically think whenever I want to get together a little bundle of, you know, face scrubbies and creams and bath soaps and that kind of stuff, I always think of it being a girly type item. But think about our young men that are just now getting to that age of where they're getting ready to start learning how to shave. Maybe they have a little bit of skin irritation, maybe their hormones, just like everybody else, is starting to kick in. You know, they need to have a good face scrub, that kind of thing. Wouldn't it be nice to make up a nice little basket for them of some face scrubbies, some antibacterial cream for their face, if they're shavers, you know, some I'm going to date myself, aquavelva, you know, just whatever it is that boys like to splash on their face whenever they get finished shaving. But wouldn't that be a nice idea? And let me get back to the face scrubbies for just a moment. Don't just do 2 or 3. You know, kids, when they really get into doing something, especially personal hygiene, taking care of their skin and stuff like that, you might find them doing it more than once a day, like in the mornings and in the evenings. So at least do enough that would make up a week's worth, you know, at least 7, maybe 10. And when you do that, I just thought about this the other day, go ahead and make them a little mesh bag to throw those items in, so when it gets tossed in the washing machine, there's not all these little pads, you know, because they can get left in the washer or the dryer, or just like socks, you know, they disappear. But if you put them in a little mesh bag for them and tell them, you know, this is where you throw the used ones, and then throw them in the wash, and when they come back, everything's still together. And I'm just throwing it out there for you. You know, you don't have to do what I say. Now, I've been telling you guys this for a bit. Granny squares, or just squares in general, and the granny stitch, I think those 3 are going to burst on the scene like crazy. Now, we've all done granny squares ever since we've learned to crochet, and we all know the granny stitch. We've even started seeing here in the last couple of years beautiful square blankets using the granny stitch pattern in some form or another. But I really think that you're going to see a lot more wearables like sweaters, more cardigans, even tank tops, skirts. I think you're going to start seeing those a lot more being made this year, and not just with your traditional granny square. I mean, there's all sorts of things you can do with the squares themselves now. You can make them 3D, put little cute animals on them. Think about this. As soon as I said little animals, you can take your 3Ds, stick them onto some that plastic canvas, stitch them together, make a little ball, throw a couple of bells in there, and little babies will chase those things around all over the place. Now, the one thing I would caution you about, which I'm sure you're already thinking, I mean, you know, you're probably way ahead of the game more so than I, is that if you're going to make anything with for babies, make sure you make it out of cotton or a nice natural fiber, because, you know, we don't want them chewing or getting the fiber content and stuff in their mouth from like acrylic or anything like that. But anyway, like I said, you're going to see a lot in the realm of using granny squares, and not just in wearables, folks. We're starting to see a lot of designs, like from purses to tote bags to even I saw the other day just a picture. Now, this was not a tutorial or anything, but I saw a very, very cute little puppy sweater made out of tiny little granny squares, and that's definitely one thing that I'm going to try to make for my little Tia, because it was just absolutely darling. Oh, let's see. Now, this is something that maybe you don't think about very much. I mean, I certainly didn't, because like I said, I raised girls. But menswear is going to really come into its own as far as crochet and knitting is concerned. I mean, yes, they can go out there and buy the knitted sweaters and hoodies and hats and all that kind of thing off the shelf, but that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, we're going to be seeing a lot more designs going into the wearables for our men. Wonderful like motif designs. We're going to see a lot more cables for them. We're even going to see wearables in the form of a very nice little short-sleeved cotton shirt, so to speak, just like what we as women would wear. We're going to be seeing a lot more just throw on, like whenever we get out of the shower or out of the pool or off the beach. I mean, there's a lot that men can wear, and I really think that men are going to come into their own. We're going to see a lot more items for men this year. And in fact, I didn't pull it out, but I know just a couple of months ago I bought a book and showed you that there was a young lady that put a book together of 12 very nice sweaters and hoodies for men. Now, for me, the lucky thing was they're all crochet, so I know I'll be doing quite a few of those. But it's nice to know that we're starting to see that men love handmade items just as much as we women do. Okay, now this one caught me by surprise, folks. Have you ever heard the term goth cowboy or western goth? Well, let me tell you what it is in case you don't know. Now, this particular style has all to do with black and cowboy themed, which, of course, if you know anything about cowboy wear, fringe, it's got to have fringe. Fringe down the sleeves, fringe across the back, across the breastplate here. I mean, we're all about the fringe as far as western wear is concerned. But black is the theme. Now, so kind of picture in your mind a cowboyish design, western design in black, but it also has that feel of a little bit of bohemian swagger there. You get me? I have seen several designs. In fact, it's come around every 4 to 6 years. It was a huge hit back in 2016, and then it came back around again about 2019, and then it's been a little bit dormant. But all of a sudden now, it hit the runway in New York back in their fall selection of 2023. So not only did it make a huge splash, but it seems to be a trend that's going to be around at least for a couple of years. So be sure that you go out there and start looking up, let's see what, goth cowboy or western goth. The like I said, now it's not just all black, folks. I mean, you'll see a lot of beading worked into the crochet wear. You'll see a lot of white trimming, white designs, that kind of stuff. Now there is some that went a little more bold and chose some really pretty bright colors, you know, like that you would see, let's say on a bird of paradise or a toucan. That, you know, if you know those birds, are just bam in your face, beautiful. Well, those are the kind of colors that I saw mixed with this western goth theme, excuse me, which, you know, being from Texas, and of course I like to consider myself to be of western origin. I mean, I like that stuff. So this was really a very nice surprise to me. Now this was mentioned on someone else's channel that I saw, and it piqued my interest. So I went out there looking and searching and everything, and yes, sure enough, you know, we, back when COVID hit, we all became very conscious of just having nice, flowy, not constraining clothes to wear. We weren't stuck in our suits anymore, or in our, you know, all buttoned up and the hose, the high heels, all that kind of stuff. We got into more of a relaxed atmosphere as far as our attire was concerned, where we're going to see it continuing on this next year in the idea of oversized garments. Now, I'm talking about the baggy pants, I'm talking about the oversized sweaters, the cardigans, even the vest, you know, just be very flowing and long. Just not anything that's going to shape us up and tie us up. You know, we just want everything to be just very natural and relaxing. Let's see. Now, all of that comes together to bring us down to talking about what is the fiber for 2024. Does anybody have a guess? Well, let me tell you, it's all about getting back to being natural. Like I said, with the oversized garments, we're just talking about being comfortable in what we're wearing. Don't have to worry about style or anything, actually. So 2024 has been designated the year of the natural fiber. And if you stop and think about it, here in the last few years, we have been talking about going back to basics, getting away from items that cannot be recycled, items that are no longer a sustainable product. Well, when you look at natural fibers such as cotton, wool, let's see, bamboo, silk, those are all fibers that come from nature. And so that is something that can be produced over and over through nature rather than being processed, like our acrylics, our polyesters, our nylons. All of that comes from a chemical process, whereas our natural fibers do not. And so we're kind of swinging the pendulum back to a more natural state, and which I think, honestly, guys, is a good thing, because natural fibers, folks, are less likely to have an allergy to than to our synthetics, our chemically processed materials that we use to make clothes and garments and things like that with. Now, I do know that there are many folks that cannot work with anything that has lanolin in it, but you know, there are other wonderful products like our cottons and our bamboos that don't have that, the lanolin that comes from animal fibers. But anyway, like I said, it's all about getting back to natural, sustainable products and having that nice natural flow about our lifestyles. Okay, so the last category that I want to give you my opinion on is amigurumis. Bet you didn't think I'd touch on that subject, did you? Yes. Now, again, someone mentioned this on their channel, and I immediately agreed with them. I think two big categories in the amigurumi circle is going to really come to the forefront. One is, I think it's going to have anything to do with a nautical theme. Our turtles and our sharks and our dolphins, whales, anything that has to do with a beachy type theme. You know, I see that really being a biggie this year. And I also see, going from the sea to the land, I see a lot of woodlands, more mythical type creatures showing up in our amigurumi themes. You know, in fact, the woman that created, let me see, Crochet Creatures of Myth and Legends, Megan Ladd, came out just around August or September with a cute little book called, just a minute, IMPKINS, IMPKINS. They are adorable, folks. Just, you know, cute little critters. Again, all from, it's like taking a little mushroom and giving him a personality, or looking at a little toad and making him just explode on the scene with just so many ways that you can create him. So those are the two main things that I see coming out of amigurumi. Now, another idea that I see, and I just showed you towards the end of December in 2023, the LOVEYS. A couple of mothers got together. They're called the, let's see, Mama Made Minis. Now, these are little LOVEYS. To me, they look like little rag dolls. And, I mean, it's not just these little animals. There's 4 different categories, I think. One is farm animals. The other one is like dragons. One has some woodland animals, you know, like your foxes and your deers. And one is dogs and cats and puppies. But anyway, they you have your amigurumi head and arms, but they have the flat little bodies. And then the cutest thing about them is they're called knotted LOVEYS. Is once you get through making their little legs, now nothing is stuffed except the head, but once you get through making little legs, you tie them up in little knots down at the bottom. They are super cute, let me tell you. But those are the kinds of things that I see in the amigurumi world. And one other little side note that I wish to tell you about is that your bulky 5 and 6 yarns are going to be what I would consider your yarn of choice for this next year for many of the amigurumis that you're going to make, especially if they're on the larger scale. And that chenille type yarn, you know what I mean? Burnett has a really good chenille yarn, or I think they do. Of course, I'm not a big fan of anything above a 4-weight, folks, but I do have to say that if I was going to choose like a 5 or a 6, the Burnett is where I would go. But that's just me. Don't anybody hate on me because I said that, because again, like I said, I don't work a lot with with the bulkier yarns, but if I'm going to, that's what I'm going to choose. So that's just kind of my take on what I think I'm going to be seeing in 2024. If you've been out there looking, you may follow different creators, folks on Pinterest than I do. You might be seeing something else that you think is going to explode out here in 2024. And if you do, let me know. I would love to hear what your thoughts on of what you see happening out there in the crochet knitting community that you think is going to be a big hit. I'd love for you to share with me, and I know others that follow my channel would love to hear from you as well. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you popping in and listening to me ramble. Like I said, it's not something I normally do, but I thought, well, hey, I always have ideas just like everybody else, so let me give a gander as to what I think is going to happen. Now, I am going to keep my little piece of paper here. I'm going to stick it over in my planning journal for the year, and I'm just going to check off and see how many things that I thought might show up in 2024 actually do. I mean, not that I'm a predictor or anything, but it is always nice to just kind of say, I wonder if that's going to be a thing or not. We'll just have to wait and see, won't we? I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please share it out to your family and friends. I mean, they might, if nothing else, get a giggle or two, right? Okay, so until tomorrow, let me say thank you to all of you for being here. I love you as always. And remember, please be the light out there in the darkness for someone today, because you never know. It could be your light that they need to see. I love you all. Bye.